20 years ago, my mother and I made a trip over to the Robinsonville graveyard to locate the graves of her grandmother and a sister who passed at 5 years of age, who she never knew. Buried at Robinsonville graveyard is my grandmother's grandmother, Miss Donnie Bumpers Driskell. She was born in Clark County on September 25th, 1866, and made it to her 73rd birthday, having passed on her birthday, September 25th, 1939. In her obituary, she is survived by 4 daughters: Miss Dunk Parker of Local, Miss Jack Marshall of Canoe, Miss Floyd Gooseby of Goodway, Miss Ransom Kirby of Reform, Mississippi, 3 sons: Andy Driskell of Bruton, Charles Driskell of McCullough, and Alan Driskell, several grandchildren among them. Next to her was her husband and my great-grandfather, Mr. Wendell Driskell. They married in Clark County in the 1880s, and then he passed untimely near the now-forgotten community of Stedham on Thursday, April 17th, 1913. The Atmore Record noted his passing in the following article. Mr. W.D. Driskell of Stedham was buried in the Robinsonville Cemetery on the 16th. His death was quite a shock to his family and friends, as he appeared to be in his usual good health on Monday, but remarked to his little boy that he felt like he was going to die, and his son insisted that he stop work and go to the house and not work anymore. But he thought he was not sick enough for that, so he worked on till noon, and when at dinner ate a hearty meal and showed no sign of being ill, went back to his work in the afternoon. About 3 o'clock, his son noticed that the mule his father was plowing was standing out in the field, but thought that his father had gone to the house for something. But when he thought that he'd been gone a reasonably long time, he went to the mule for fear that it would get tangled in the lines, only to find his father laying in the furrow dead. He had fell backward with the lines still around his wrist. Mr. Driskell was 54 years old. He leaves a wife and several children and a host of relatives and friends to mourn his death. Perhaps it is an irony but history, but these Driskell great-grandparents buried next to them are the first generations of 2 other children that had died. Irene Jiggs Driskell was buried between the graves here, and she was the firstborn of my parents, Alan and Lena Driskell, and she rested in an unmarked grave next to the firstborn of Wendell and Donna Driskell, Mr. B.F. Driskell, who also predeceased his parents on July 31st, 1912. Jiggs died of diphtheria, and it was a sad blow to my grandparents. On a breezy Sunday in March 2025, I returned to remember some of the Driskell history and all that has come to pass. In the McCullough, Alabama, and Burnville, Florida area, many Parkers, Driscolls, and Coon surnames can trace their ancestry back to the Driscolls, who come from the lineage of the primitive Baptist preacher Reverend Allen J. Driskell, who settled in Jackson, Alabama after the war between the states. Also noteworthy in Robinsonville Baptist Church Cemetery is a grave of Lieutenant William Maxwell, who was a pilot who died in the Philippines, who was from Robinsonville, and Maxwell Field is buried after him. Also of note is the grave of Miss Carly J. O'Gwen Gully, wife of Joseph C. Gully, who was the first and perhaps only postmistress of the short-lived Robinsonville Post Office, which, according to the Atmore Record, opened in 1904 and operated roughly 5 to 10 years. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and have a good weekend.